Howdy. I didn't expect you back so soon from that last time we talked about my San Francisco 49ers. But then when I looked at my calendar, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. They play on a Thursday night. That's only on Amazon Prime Video for how much money is it exactly? Oh yeah, Jeff Bezos money. $15 million, pal, or however much Jeff Bezos' net worth is. Oh, it's only $15.99 a month. Yeah, I think that's how much Amazon Prime is nowadays. But I digress. Yeah, that's right. Welcome back. It's been how long now? Like not even a day since we last talked about my San Francisco 49ers after coming off that embarrassing choke. Another one, in fact, but this most recent one to the Arizona Cardinals, a division loss, mind you, in week 5. And now here they are, just a couple days out, not even a week, playing on a Thursday night to the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. So taking a trip up northwest to Seattle to play the Seahawks in another division game that's only on Amazon Prime Video on a Thursday night. So both of these teams are kind of in a desperation mode, because when you look at the grand scheme of things for both teams, the Niners, yeah, they've lost games in kind of bad fashion. I'm not talking about blowout fashion, but in that fashion. Meanwhile, for the Seahawks, they really need to find a way to snap their 2-game skid, because starting out 3-0, and now they're losers of 2 straight. So let's talk about the week that was for both of these teams. For my San Francisco 49ers, most of you know the story. For those of you that are subscribed, have watched the recap of the last game. And if you haven't already, which most of you haven't, make sure you go watch the latest recap of the Niners game, where in that game, they had an opportunity to get their first division win against the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. But instead, in the second half, they didn't score a single point. They couldn't play any defense, and they lost their kicker. And then they decided to blow another 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. This time to, again, their division rival in Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, 24-23. So they're 0-2 in the division now, and they run the risk of being 0-3 in the division if they lose this game to the Seattle Seahawks on a Thursday night. So it's actually the second time. This is the second time in 3 weeks that they've lost games like this. You thought that the Rams one was embarrassing. No, I feel like this choke by Kyle Shanahan was even more embarrassing. Like all you had to do was score a touchdown, like on their last second to last drive to seal the game. But no, Jordan Mason fumbles the ball. He fumbles the ball, and then Arizona recovers it. And it's like, why? Like, what happened there? Like, who missed their assignment to block? Why didn't Jordan Mason use 2 hands to cover up the ball? I don't know. But we lost in crushing fashion. Again, everyone is at fault. Everybody. And that includes our quarterback too. But I'll talk about why that is when we get to the keys to victory. Meanwhile, for the Seattle Seahawks, like I said, they were winners of 3 straight with their new head coach, Mike McDonald. They've been playing a little bit pretty well for themselves, but after failing somewhat of their first test against the Detroit Lions, where even though they fought very hard in that game, they just couldn't finish it in the end. They kind of fell a bit in the rut against the New York Giants. Their offense couldn't get out of first gear. Their defense was still kind of in it to win it, I guess. But their offense, they really struggled in that game. They allowed 7 sacks on Geno Smith in that one. And they were trying to tie the game and had a chance to go to overtime. But unfortunately, they got their game-time field goal blocked and returned for a game-losing touchdown against Daniel Jones and the Giants, and they lost their second straight. So they're going into this game trying to snap a 2-game skid to avoid being 3-3, and dropping down to second. So essentially, yes, the Niners do have a chance to be tied for first place in the NFC West, despite, being 1-2 if they win this game. So, I mean, I'm saying there's a chance, but no. But for the Seahawks, they do have to find a way to bounce back in this game if they want to avoid, the frauds, the other labels, if you want to have that kind of conversation. So in terms of the injury report for both of these teams, well, not really much to report because it is a short week, like a very short week, and throughout this time, they don't really give away the injury report. All they give is estimates and all that because they're just lightly practicing, doing walkthroughs. And yeah, there's really much to report other than the fact for my 49ers, our regular kicker, Jake Moody, is going to be out multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain, the one he suffered trying to tackle returner DJ Dallas. So the Niners are trying out several kickers to be a replacement in the time being. Who that replacement kicker is, we don't know as of right now. So in terms of the keys to victory for both of these teams, for my San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy, he needs to get rid of that ball quicker. He needs to throw the ball quicker and find whoever the open man is. I don't care if there's someone downfield. I don't care if it's a check down or a mid-range throw. Brock needs to get that ball out quicker. Now, look, I've appreciated the growth in how he plays these first 5 games of the season. He's been taking a lot more chances. He's been throwing it more downfield. He's been scrambling out of the pocket like a lot more. But enough. Trying to get the big plays in all the time. He's been very too reliant on the big plays, way too much, especially in these last 2 games against the Patriots and especially against Arizona. And a lot of that has to come with him holding onto the ball for too long, waiting for someone to get open, especially when they're in the red zone. Like, dude, if there's nothing there, then just throw the damn ball away. It's like, we're not playing a game of tag when you're scrambling out of the pocket for like 20 seconds while the announcers are, jerking the worm of how much you're scrambling. And it becomes a concern when you're like drifting backwards, scrambling, and then you have to run forward and then you take a sack, an unnecessary sack. You can't be doing that, dude. So it's okay for Brock Purdy to check it down or take a short field throw. If something isn't there downfield, just find the open man that's going to help you advance the drive or get you a touchdown, whatnot. Brock Purdy just got to get that ball out quicker. And then the pass rush. This pass rush has to feast on Geno Smith because this offensive line is not exactly a wall. I mean, which was evident against the New York Giants. But, I mean, the Niners are not the Giants exactly, but, that they still have the talent that's got to execute, especially when you have guys like Nick Bosa, Leonard Floyd, on that offensive front, defensive front. So they got to execute and getting into Geno Smith and stopping him from throwing to his best playmakers. And then the last thing I want to touch on, and this is a bonus one, the red zone offense. Like, it has to be better. The play calling has to be better, and the execution's got to be better. And then for the Seahawks, the running game. The running game has to be more proficient. Not only proficient, but more evident in this game. Like, because Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet, they were very invisible in the last one. They only amassed less than 30 yards of rushing against the Giants in the first half, and then practically nothing in the second half. I don't know if that was a thing with the Giants' running defense being that good, or the offensive coordinator getting a little too pass happy. But either way, whatever it was, it forced Geno Smith to throw a lot more than he normally does. And I'm not sure if Geno Smith throws like a lot already, but still, you have to balance out the offense by utilizing Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet more, because this is the Niners' run defense where both running backs can certainly attack it. So this should be a great chance for them to do so, to help out Geno Smith and this offense. So staying with the offense, this is also a good opportunity for the passing attack to light up this Niners defense, because this is the most vulnerable San Francisco's defense has looked. And yeah, even though they're coming off a down game, that being Seattle's passing attack, it's still a very solid. Like Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith Najigba, like those three receivers, like I feel like as long as Geno Smith plays a clean game, like they can light this defense up. So as long as Smith plays a clean game, like I said, this Niners defense is gonna have a problem. So for this game, it's one that both teams got to have. For the Seahawks, it's to snap this 2-game skid that they're on, and of course, get a division win. And for the Niners, like you got to avoid being 0-3 in the division. It's just as simple as that. If you lose this game, you're winless in the division. You lost to pretty much everybody already. That it's not even like halfway through the season yet, and you're already 0-4 in the NFC. So that puts you in a bigger hole trying to compete for a playoff spot. So your season is already like on life support, if you ask me. So like forget the conversation of can we win the division if you lose this game. You just have to ask yourself, can you make the playoffs? And if you lose this game, people are going to be having serious questions about this team if they lose to Seattle. But if you win this game, okay, it eases up on that conversation. You're 1-2, you tie for first place. You get one win in the NFC. All right, but then you have to look past that and then try to find a way to upset Kansas City, and then face the Dallas Cowboys and see if you can turn around from there before the bye week. So first, you have to find a way to win this must-win game against the Seattle Seahawks with everyone creeping up on your butts. It's that simple. You got to find a way to turn these mistakes around, at least mitigate them going into this one on the road, up northwest, in a hostile environment that you at least managed to win 2 straight in, or you couldn't really win at all in the last decade, but you got to find a way to win. And if you go up big with that lead, hold on to it, please. So, yeah, important game for both of these teams, but let me know your thoughts on this must-win game for my 49ers in the comments below, and let's have a conversation about it. What are the keys to victory, in your opinion, and what's your prediction on who wins and why? Anyway, until we recap this game, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. Yeah, short turnaround for this one and previewing it, but we'll be back to recap it once the game is over with, whenever that may be. But anyway, until the next one, on the next Niners video, this is DylanLasagna signing out of Very Cold Lasagna. And until then, peace out.